Hello, welcome once again to Paleblooms and Beyond. Thank you for joining us today. If you do like the programming you see here and the musicians and artists that I visit with, please be sure and hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Roy Rutanen is an American singer, songwriter, and guitarist. Early on, Roy was in the high school band, the Deans, who later became the Illusions. He was also a member of the band, the Blue Berets. After high school, Roy was drafted into the Army and would see action in Vietnam. Post-Vietnam, he would move to Australia, where he would write songs, play live in clubs and on TV. It was there he recorded his self-titled 1971 folk psych album on MCA Records. Although mostly overlooked at the time, the album has gained a resurgence of interest in recent years, including a vinyl reissue on PQR Records in 2023. Moving back to the US, Mr. Rutanen would eventually get his degree with honors from the University of Massachusetts and end up having a nice career in journalism, where he spent many years working as a reporter for radio and TV stations across the country. Well, welcome, Roy.
Greg, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And I appreciate you having me on. I haven't been interviewed in years. It feels great.
Oh, well, good. All right. All right. Well, we're going to kind of flip the tables here on you too, because you used to be on my end. So we're going to flip them a little bit here. Well,
that's fine with me.
Take us back to the beginning. Where were you born?
Right here in Putnam, Connecticut.
Okay.
In 1947, making me, I just turned 78 July 1st. So happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to you. Okay. I didn't see that in my, well, you're not on my Facebook, I guess. We've been doing email, or else I was.
Well, you see, Greg, I was banned from Facebook for speaking my mind. You know, you have to be in kindergarten to stay on Facebook. They don't want any ancient history, or no. They don't want any wisecracks, I guess.
No, they don't. They don't. I understand that. Well, I'm a fellow Cancer myself, Cancerian, I guess. I just had mine the 11th. So.
Well, congratulations.
You're 10 days older than me. Hey.
Yeah, but I'm sure your birthday didn't start in 1947, though. Right. Just judging from the look of it.
Right. And a few years maybe thrown in there. Well, yeah, I just celebrated mine as well. Well, now that I've read growing up that you didn't have the very best childhood.
Well, yeah. We were like the black sheep of the neighborhood. My father, my stepfather, Oni Rutanen, was a very violent alcoholic. Now, he never hit us, but he particularly didn't like me very much, because I was turned out to be his stepson. My mother had a little messing around years ago, so it doesn't matter that I mention it. But he wasn't too fond of me, so I was one of his primary targets. He did beat up my mother, though, from time to time, and so we were kind of the black sheep in the neighborhood, and I was a very wild kid in school, as you can imagine. I was just totally out of control. So I still carry that with me today. So, this, what I feel very bad for, especially having been in broadcasting and news for many, many years, these women who put up with it, there are domestic violence laws now to prevent that. And unfortunately, some women just feel that they have to put up with it. It's their fault.
Yeah.
And so they have to pay their dues. And that's a lot of bull.
Yeah.
If your husband is beating you up, he's an idiot, and you need to file charges, and because you have your own life to live. You don't need to put up with that brutality. And of course, back then, growing up, the laws and attitude toward alcoholism were not what they are today. He was arrested for drunk driving on numerous occasions, spent a lot of time in jail as we were growing up. And he got into some terrible automobile accidents as a result of his drinking. And eventually he was struck with epilepsy. And he suffered with that for many years. And so, yeah, growing up was a bit trying. It was an ill preparation for life in the future. I
Yeah.
had to figure that out by myself. And I'm still trying to figure it out, Greg.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a lifelong process, isn't it?
Oh,
You're
you
all,
know,
yeah.
the older you get, you still make stupid mistakes. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And you think back, why did I do that? Uh, I got taken online with a scam once, and I'm still kicking myself for
Yeah.
that, for being so gullible.
Right.
But these scammers, man, they are
Oh,
real clever. I just got an email today saying that I owed back taxes
oh
in
yeah.
California, and I live in Connecticut.
Right.
So I was ordered to pay back taxes at this website, or I would face execution or whatever. I didn't even finish reading it, but I get these things all the time, and if you're not cautious, it's so easy to fall for them because these people are
Yeah.
so clever.
Yeah, they are. And they target senior citizens. They target the elderly too. They do. They go
Oh, sure
after,
they do.
yeah, they do. I know. They're always out there going around. Somebody's coming up with a new one every day. Well, was there music in the household?
Well, yeah. First of all, I have to say, with all respect and all honesty, my mother was not a piano player, a pianist. She played. To give you an idea, she played. I don't know if you're familiar with the song "Ebb Tide."
Oh yes, I love that. I
I
love
mean, when she played that, she put so much feeling and emotion into her playing that when she played that, you could absolutely smell the ocean.
Oh yeah.
She was just so talented, and I guess there was some of that was passed on to me as I was very young. Uh, she told me stories of holding me in a rocking chair, listening to symphony music on the radio as I was a youngster, as a kid, as a baby. And so I guess that had something to do with my love for music. And but symphonies are okay, but when I can't handle opera,
You
I
don't like
cringe.
that.
It's like trying to listen, like me trying to listen to rap. I
Yeah.
just cringe. I
Yeah.
can't deal with it.
It's fingernails on the chalkboard
Oh
time.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm the same way. I can't take that, and I don't even consider rap music myself. I mean, people just talking and
yeah.
rhyme. To me,
Well,
that's not.
Greg, I just found this out recently.
Mhm.
They were trying to find out a name for rap. They were trying to figure out what to call it,
Yeah,
and someone had just had the bright idea to drop the C.
I
So
like that.
it was a very simple way to. Oh, well,
Explain.
listen, I have to qualify this because there is a young lady. I don't know if you're familiar with her name. She's Amira. Have you ever heard of her?
No, I don't.
Probably not. She was a self-taught opera singer in the Netherlands and won the Netherlands Has Talent contest.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, she learned. This is the truth. She learned how to sing opera listening to YouTube, listening to opera on YouTube.
YouTube, really?
And since then, she's had obviously a lot of training, but she was just 9 years old. She won that contest.
Right.
So Amira is an exception to the rule. I just think she's
Yeah.
an amazing young lady.
Yeah, I'll have to look her up. How do you spell her name?
Amira, Amira,
Okay.
Amira.
I will have to look her up. Okay. Well, yeah, you mentioned your mom being an accomplished pianist. Did you learn piano? Did she help you, or was the guitar your first instrument?
No, well, she tried to teach me by taking me to and a piano teacher, Mrs. Berry, I believe her name was. And I looked at all these notes on a page, and it was just Greek to me. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I played music by ear.
Mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
I I just never learned the notes.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you know, just like I just looked at the page of notes and I said, I'm never gonna know how to. I'm never gonna figure out how to play these dots.
You know, I've heard of, different ones I've talked to about taking piano lessons and how structured it was, a little too structured and rigid for
Oh,
them. You learn those, old songs that are corny and
yeah,
everything, and then you want to do your own thing,
yeah. Well,
and
I did.
like you said, exactly, and so it becomes a little too structured for them. Well,
Yeah, yeah. A friend of mine, Kevin Passe, who I haven't seen for years and years.
yeah.
We used to we learned guitar together and progressed together, and well, by the time we became the Illusions, and I have to give Mad Magazine a tip here. I mean, I don't like what they're doing now. It's more of a comic book than it was a political satire magazine, and when I was growing up, and I loved it. But it's not what it used to be. But they had this illusion that we put on our drum, on our bass drum, and we called ourselves the Illusions.
Yeah.
And this was big time. We were the first band to ever play at the Woodstock Fair in Woodstock, Connecticut. And I want to tell you that was an honor.
Ah,
Uh, I'm just kidding.
okay. I was following you there.
I'm not getting crazy on you, Greg. Really.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. I almost fell off that cliff
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, no, no.
You had me going. Okay. Well, yeah, I remember that too. I mean, I like the back. I wonder if they even still Spy versus Spy. I used to enjoy that part of it. And then the back page, how you could fold it and it would make another picture or whatever,
Yeah,
you turn it and fold it in half or whatever, fold one on top of the other. Yeah, and they had some good, yeah, some good content definitely in those. Yeah, in the old days. Well, you guys learned guitar together. Can you remember? I don't know if you were into this, buying 45s or albums.
oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
can you
oh,
remember
oh
when
yeah.
the?
We were this was the age of the instrumental.
Okay,
The Ventures,
yeah,
oh geez, I can't run off all the names now. The Ventures were a primary group that we played. Santo and Johnny.
Santana.
Uh, I don't know if you remember these names. I
Oh
mean,
yes, I
they're
do.
their history now. But we didn't have any vocals at that point.
Right.
We just played instrumentals. But we got to have a pretty good following because we were picked up by a DJ in Providence, Rhode Island, who set up. We didn't get paid for any of this, but he set up gigs at various high schools and so forth all around the area. So uh, we were having a great time until I got drafted, and so that brought that little experience to a screeching halt.
Right. So that's what get up to that point. Well, who were the Blue Berets?
Well, the Blue Berets, I continued to play in the army with a group of musicians in this. I can't remember the name of the. There was a an entertainment department,
Okay.
and I hooked up with them. We did shows all over. I was based in Würzburg, Germany at that point, and we played as a group. We played at various military installations all around that area in Germany, and the Blue Berets. We had to wear a blue beret, man. It was it was it
You
was
had your
hot. It was hot.
you
I'll tell you.
you had your gimmick. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Well, take us through your memories of being stationed in Germany and then being called to duty in Vietnam.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind in Germany is Andreas Sullivan. Uh, I I looked at the military as an adventure, and when I was sent to Würzburg, Germany, my main interest was mingling with the locals. I've had enough of soldiers picked up to here. So I wanted to see what's going on in the local community, and I joined this group called the International Discussion something. And so I said, and in that experience, I met Andrea Sullivan, who was, oh, bilingual, fluent in English and English and German, and she was gorgeous, intelligent, funny. Oh, we were just very tight with each other, and of course that came to an end when I got orders to go to Vietnam. But uh, uh, I I had this one I had this one experience where there was this I worked as in administration in this huge uh, hangar that had been transformed into an office. It was all full of clerks and so forth. And whenever anybody re-enlisted, uh, they would be met by all these guys walking through this big room filled with all guys going, you're a fish, you got hooked.
Yeah,
How could you be so stupid?
yeah.
And so uh, they were called fish. And
Okay.
so one night I was leaving the building, and there was this little silly pool outside, and it had frozen, and there was a dead goldfish on top of the ice.
Oh,
So
wow.
I thought it would be funny to take that goldfish and put it in an envelope and send it through distribution to reenlistment. Now, I thought that was funny, and everybody around me thought it was funny, but Sergeant Major Brewington did not think it was funny,
He didn't like
and
it.
he went and he did his very best to get me transferred to Schweinfurt. So I had to do some quick thinking to get out of that one. But I was always getting myself into trouble playing these practical jokes. And Brewington didn't have any kind of a sense of humor at all.
Oh, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. And they still don't.
No,
No, no,
no,
no,
I'm
no,
sure they
no.
don't.
They haven't come around to that way of looking at lives. Well, talk about just the eye-opening culture shock, I guess you could call it, when you first got to Vietnam.
Oh man, I'm going to tell you a couple of things that happened to me. We landed in Long Binh, and anybody who's ever been sent to Vietnam uh, will back me up on this. When the plane landed and they opened the door and that heat and humidity came into the plane, it took your breath away. It was so hot. So Long Binh was beautiful. I mean, it looked like Hawaii, palm trees and white beaches and oh, beautiful. I'm going, oh, please let me get stationed here. Well, that was not to be. I was stationed in uh, a place called LZ Sally, which was just basically a camp surrounded by barbed wire. And it was way north of Vietnam, right just below the DMZ. And I wasn't very welcome there. Let me put it that way, because people thought immediately that I was SID, the Civilian Investigation Division, looking for pot smokers. So I got tagged with that name. I got tagged with that. Now I have to explain it. When you're in transit in the military, you're going from plane to helicopter to these big trucks to pickup trucks, and by the time you get to where you're going, you are exhausted. I mean, wasted. So the first thing I did when I got to LZ Sally, was to find a bunk and crash. Well, the next morning I wake up and there's like four or five grunts, soldiers around my bed, telling me, "Who the hell do you think you are? What makes you think we need to protect you, sleepy boy," or whatever? And they were very, very well pissed off. that I had slept through an attack. We had been attacked.
Yeah.
But I was so
You were so tired, so
so
beat.
exhausted, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
Nobody woke me up.
Yeah.
So I slept right through it. And these guys,
Yeah.
I thought they were gonna beat me up. I really did. But I tried to explain to them, what I just said. So there was that. Another thing that was very unique that happened to me in Vietnam. I'll tell you two more stories. Uh, After you get sent to your unit, you have to go back to division to kind of sign in and log in with your records and everything. So, in order to get to, I had to go to Phu Bai in that area, and we went by pickup truck there, and there was several of us, like 9 of us in the pickup truck, and they put us in a hooch, and you'd have to wait for your name to be called to go in and sign in and present your records and grab, get your weapon and all your other gear. So toward the end of the day, I noticed that the pickup truck that brought us there had gone, and I was stuck there. And a guy came by and he said, "Hey, listen, I wouldn't hang around this hooch because if they're going to come around here and put you on KP." And I went, "Oh no, they're
Oh,
not."
no.
Oh no.
You
So
gotta
I
get
grabbed all my gear, and I walked out. I had no idea where I was going. I just knew that I was not going to stay in that hooch because KP
Yeah.
really sucked.
You didn't want to do
So,
that.
so I'm walking around, carrying my weapon and my duffel bag and everything, and I see this helicopter warming up a short ways away. So uh, I walked up to the guy. I walked up to the pilot, and I said, "Hey, where you guys going?" And he says, "LZ Sally." And I went, "Oh, thank you very much." And so I flew back to LZ Sally, and and this is no word of a lie, I was dropped off about 50 to 100 feet away from my front door.
Really?
So I get out of the helicopter and stash my gear and I take a shower, and I'm laying in the bed laying in the bunk reading a book. And these poor bastards in the truck show up. And the driver comes in and goes, "How the hell did you get here?" And so that did not help me out being accused of investigating marijuana. Oh, no, no. He's got to be an investigator, or he never would have been able to get back so quickly. So uh, that didn't help my.
It didn't help your cause.
No, I was like the green. I mean, I was just not accepted up there at all. I couldn't wait to get discharged.
Yeah.
I mean, to get, well, anyway, the LZ Sally finally shut down, and we all moved to Camp Eagle near Fubai, and uh, I I got stuck on patrol. Now, what patrol is that periodically a bunch of soldiers have to get together and walk all the way around the perimeter, uh, especially looking for. Do you know what a claymore mine is?
I've seen pictures. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's a rectangular explosive, and it shoots ball bearings. But what the enemy used to do is sneak up to the perimeters and turn these claymore mines around. So when they were ignited, instead of the ball bearings going toward the enemy, that bomb has been turned around, and all those
Mm.
the ball
Burn.
bearings would go toward us.
Yeah.
So part of our job was to go around and make sure that the claymore mines were in place. Well, it was hot, man, and I'm not very happy being there to begin with. And so we come to this this pool of water that was green. It was brown and green and nasty, and it just I mean, at hot temperature. I'm thinking to myself, what could be living in this thing? What bacteria or virus? And so I'm at the end of the line, and the commanding officer is standing at the edge of the pool, thinking to him, and what's going on in his mind and all these other guys' minds is a John Wayne movie with him, walking across this water, and so they couldn't wait to wade through this filthy pool. And so I'm standing there, and I look to my left, and there's like a little berm. And so I climbed up to the top of the berm, and there was a little stream of water going down that fed the pool.
Yeah.
So these guys are wading across this water, wading through this pool with their weapons above, just like in the movies, with their weapons above their heads, and
Yeah.
their uniforms and boots getting all nasty. So I climbed up this berm and I jumped over the stream. I mean, hopped over the stream.
Yeah.
So we we finally get back to camp, and there's not much going on. So whenever a patrol comes back, there's a greeting party,
Yeah.
and so everybody's watching these people, their boots squeaking, and they yell out, "How come Rutanen is the only one who's dry?" I mean, I could just imagine what it would have been like cleaning up the boots and the ugh.
Oh, that would be
So anyway, there's a
nasty.
couple of stories for you.
That would be nasty, nasty.
Yeah, luckily I was, you see, when I got drafted, my family, one side of my family was very military oriented. Man, they were in every service that was available, all four. And so for me to have gone to Canada
Yeah.
or refused to go, I'd have been ostracized from the
Right.
family. I would have
Ex-
been kicked
ex-
out and forgotten.
Excommunicated and all
So
that.
I had no choice. I
Mhm.
had no choice. And so I went in, but what I did was, instead of taking 2 years being drafted, I took another year to make sure that I was in a position in the military where I didn't have to kill anyone, because that's not, I'm not built that way. I just am not.
Yeah.
Not even now. I can't kill anybody.
Yeah.
There's no way I could do that. So there was no way I was going to do that. Now, I'm not insane. That is to say, if somebody was going to kill me, that I'm
You'll
just
defend
not going to
yourself.
stand there and let that happen.
No,
But I'm
no.
not going to purposely go into a situation knowing that I have to kill people I don't even know.
Right.
So I said, to hell with that. I'm not going to do that. So I opted for a job behind the scenes, and that was fine with me. And the family was very happy.
Okay. Well, it's good you had an option, because I've heard stories where many did not, have that option, or they didn't know about it, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
You know, they
I
went to,
looked into it. I looked into it because uh, I grew up with being that stepbrother I was telling you about loved guns. He had guns around all the time. Plus, my neighbors always had guns, so I was very familiar with guns. And not to boast or anything, but I was a damn good shot because I had used guns so often. So I knew that if I got drafted for 2 years, I'd have been on the front lines, and there's no way that I was going to do that because, as I said,
right.
I was just not up to killing people.
No.
I just couldn't go that way.
Did they have conscientious objectors during Vietnam, or was?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not. I can't speak to that. I don't know. I'm sure there may have been,
Yeah.
but I'm sure also that it would have taken big bucks, a good lawyer,
Okay.
because I know a lot of wealthy kids
Right.
got out of it doing
Yes.
something like that, and
Yeah.
but not being a wealthy kid, I had to come up with a viable alternative.
Right. Right. Well, after your service, why did you move to Australia?
Well, I'll tell you, this was a love affair. I I just just as it happened this way that when you're in Vietnam for a while, you get an option to go on R&R, which is rest and recuperation, and there was a whole list of places you could go. Bangkok was one of them, and some other places, and also uh, Australia. So I had always been intrigued with Australia, so that's where I went, and I went twice. And during the course of those visits, I ran into some terrific people. Oh my goodness gracious! It was like I have second home. So when it came time for me to get discharged, I took my discharge in Saigon, and flew. Instead of going home, I went back to Australia where I lived for 2 or 3 years. This was in 1969 that happened, and now that time, and that's how I got into that. I became a singer songwriter. That's how this album eventually
Yeah.
came to
Well, yeah.
pass.
Well, yeah, you met some kindred spirits there. Yeah, you definitely did. And what was the PACT Theater? What was that?
Oh, this was a theater. I don't even know if it's still there or not, but this was a theater for uh, local folk song singers. Doug Ashdown and I became very good friends, and he was probably the most well known singer of his time in that genre. And you just go and you had to go through a qualification process, if you will, because they don't want anybody up there to bore the patrons. So it wasn't a simple thing where you just show up with your guitar and play. It took me a while to convince the guy Frank. As a matter of fact, I moved in with Frank and his family for a while when I first got there. Great guy. And anyway, different musicians would go and play, and I have another silly story for you that I have to share.
Okay. All right.
An American in Australia trying to fit in, trying to be one of the guys, trying to be one of the mates.
Yeah.
So when you go to a bar, they're this what was it now? Oh yeah, you can order a schooner, which is a big glass of beer. Okay, so you go in, you say, "Give me a schooner." So thinking that I've got the lingo down, I walk up to the bar with my friends around me, and I said, "Yeah, I'll have a sloop." And the bartender looked at me and said, "What? What's a sloop?" And one of my friends says, "He means the schooner.
Yeah.
He's an American. He doesn't know what the
Right.
hell he's talking
You
about."
thought you could just
I
yeah,
want a sloop.
the two type of boats, yeah.
The bartender just stood there. What the
Yeah,
hell
what
is a
the
sloop? So,
I
and
like
you
it.
know something,
Yeah.
even if I went back today and hooked up with my old friends, that is, they
That was,
still remember.
they
They
remember
still
that,
remember
yeah.
that stupid American who doesn't even know what he's drinking. You know,
Schooner and
that's
sloop. I'd like to order a sloop John B. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now
Right.
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's very funny. I hadn't thought of that.
Right.
No, but I ordered a sloop and I finally got a schooner.
You got a scooter. You know, you mentioned Doug Ashdown. What a singer-songwriter. I love his Winter in America. I just love that song. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what a song. I read where you play some of the small clubs and even a couple of times on TV shows in Australia. You
Yeah.
even got on
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah. Yeah. I did, let's say, Channel. Oh, man. I remember Channel 10 and I believe the ABC channel. I was on that, and I played a variety of clubs. Um, but you know what? I think this is true with a lot of musicians, especially back then. I mean, I was still trying to get Vietnam out of my head, and I was young and partied a lot and everything, and I played music because I mean I used to back then I used to play my guitar no word of a lie from time to time, 8 hours a day,
Yeah.
uh, just to practice because I love playing. And that's a problem with a lot of musicians that don't get it. When you play guitar for your own enjoyment, that's one thing. But when you start talking albums and personal appearances and so forth, that's the business side of it. And that's where I made my big mistake, is that to me it was just this experience gave me an opportunity to play and write songs and perform, but I never really picked up on it's also a business, dum
Yeah.
dum,
Right.
and you
Right.
have to have, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
if you're serious
Well,
about it, you need
yeah.
a manager.
Right.
There's no doubt in my mind
That's
who
right.
can handle the business end of it. Your job is to play and write songs
Yeah.
and enjoy yourself. That's your job as a
Yeah.
musician.
Right.
So you have to have somebody on the other side of that coin taking care of business.
Yeah.
And so I just never paid attention to the
No.
business
No. And
of it.
you were in the same boat with so many guys I've talked to. It's a shame. That came later. It's a shame that you guys couldn't have been taught that before you got into music, the business side of it.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah.
not the way life goes, though.
Yeah,
Um,
there was a local band here. A lot of it's all broken up now. One guy had died and everything, but there was a group locally here in northeastern Connecticut, the Putnam Woodstock area, called Springwater. And
oh, I think I've heard of them.
well, I'll tell you, they did Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young vocals. I mean, right on.
Yeah.
And plus, they had a lot of original stuff that they did.
Yeah.
And in fact, on a bit of a sad note, one of the members of Springwater, Tim St. Jean, a very close friend of mine, this guy was a consummate musician. I mean, he is unbelievable. He self-taught,
Yeah.
but a maestro on all of these instruments:
Yeah.
guitar, banjo, mandolin, fiddle, and hammered dulcimer. He taught
Oh,
himself to play all these
play
instruments,
all of those. Okay.
and he did it on his own. He didn't
Yeah.
take any lessons or anything.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, recently he found out that he's got a cancer on the back of his tongue and in his throat,
Is that right?
and sometimes he has a hard time talking. So he's struggling with that at the moment, and
Oh, that's
he's a
that's
great guy, laid back and an incredible uh, singer songwriter, and I just have to wish him the best. But I'm thinking he'll be all right because he's going to treatment every day. So
good. Well, that's good to hear. I hope so. I hope he kicks that, as they say. Get back here. Okay. Oh, well, take us up to, you had been writing songs. Take us up to the recording of the album. What
oh
studio and
man,
what studio did you record the song?
oh boy, I can't
I
remember
mean,
the name
I,
of it. I
I
don't think the
I don't mean to try to stump you on that if you don't remember
no,
that.
no, I do remember the engineer though, Spencer
Okay. Okay.
something. I remember him, but I can't remember the audience now. Uh, when I hooked up with the record company, how that happened was I went to a recording studio down by uh, the Key, down by the Sydney Opera House. There was a little recording studio, so I wanted to get some of my songs on tape. Well, the guy who recorded those songs sent them to uh, MCA record guy. Oh God, I can't. Jack Argent.
Jack Argent, yes.
So he heard them and he took me on, and I went through a variety. I played. I did some singles with a band, and they were trying to arrange other musicians to work with me. So in the meantime, I had to move out of. I was living on Manly Beach in Sydney, Australia, right on the beach. I used to sleep with the surf, sound of the surf coming on. It was just a dream come true. So I had to get out of there for some reason, probably because I didn't have any money. So I had to move into this house with a bunch of other guys in DY. And at that point, uh, one musician came in who played, what was it? Flute, I think it was. And he organized and got the word around to some other musicians, local guys now. This
Yeah.
wasn't record company or agents. I mean, this was just local musicians that appear on my album.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
sat there and worked it out and went in and with the help of some marijuana, uh, we uh, we got through it and recorded all of that album live in the studio.
Yeah.
There was very few overdubs
Yeah.
because we had rehearsed them the songs so thoroughly, and they weren't used to because this album. I mean, it has some songs like you could just consider rock and roll, and then maybe some folk and country. I mean, it was a
Yeah. Yeah.
conglomeration of all kinds of just
Yeah.
stuff I had written that
Yeah.
we worked out. But it was all local guys,
Yeah.
and all of them are alive except for the drummer. We lost him.
Is that right? Well, I like to discover those, and unearth those gems, and I consider your album to be one of those. I've always liked to dig a little deeper, and how I like to put it is those artists and musicians that flew under the radar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Didn't make it big, but they were talented like yourself. They had everything they're on the album, and if with just the right luck and timing, I think that's has a whole lot to do with it, and promotion. It could have been a different story. And so I'm grateful for guys like George, from PQR, reissuing the album. And there's so many other labels out there that are doing the same thing.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you that blew me away when I got a message from
Did it?
him
Did it?
that this guy in Greece wanted to re-release the album.
Yeah.
First of all, I thought it was a scam call.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And
All right. Yeah.
I was well. The only demand I made on George was that I still own the songs.
Right.
I'm not signing my songs away by giving you permission to re-release this album. They're still my songs, which he agreed to, obviously, because he's a good guy. I'm just, I was blown away, man. I was
Yeah.
blown away. I was on the phone calling people. I
Yeah.
called one lady I know in Kenya, and I mean in Australia. Hey, guess what? You
Yeah,
know?
I hear that. Doing these interviews, I hear that from so many because, like I said, I'll talk to these artists that were not big, and they say the same thing. Resurgence of interest years later, decades later, and they'll say like, "Wow, I couldn't believe it." I was
Yeah,
gobsmacked. Like, where did this come from? And a lot of times it's from people, like you said, in other countries around the world that pick up an album. Do you hear of these? You know what a crate digger is? A crate digger? They
no,
These are like guys that are out there and they'll go to record conventions and things like that. They're looking for that special record. They're looking for that one, that didn't hit the big time, that was not, a popular, big smash. And then they'll spin it and find out, that yeah, there's some quality material on here. And then they may know somebody like PQR or what have you that'll reissue it, and it has an interest in doing that. So, it's breathing new life into these recordings.
yeah, yeah.
It's a
It took me by surprise. I'll tell you.
it's a wonderful thing, I think.
In
Yeah,
fact, one part of the deal was I wanted some copies that I could send to some close friends,
right, right.
and he agreed to that readily. And geez, I hope for his sake that the album is getting some attention. And another thing that blew me away was the actual original album
Yeah,
is being sold online for like lots of money,
yeah,
big money,
yeah.
and of course I don't get any of that. Damn it! But I'm amazed that this album, 52-year-old album, is being, but it has to be the original album, is selling. I can't remember. It was a lot of money though, and it was more money than I ever expected. You know.
Right.
Uh,
It's just that if they label an album a rarity, it will fetch top dollar. It will.
yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
that's what a
Oh,
lot of these are. A lot
I,
of
I
these.
I was amazed by
Yeah.
that. You
I don't
know.
I don't know how you flew under my radar, either for so long. There's a couple of websites. Rate Your Music. Have you ever heard of it's RYM Rate Your Music? Uh,
No,
you ought to
no.
check that. You ought to check that out. I know your album was on there. They have albums. People, it's where you post an album that you like, and then they rate it. They rate it. I don't know. It's like 1 to 5 or whatever it is, and then I'll go through those. That's where I found out about a lot of them was the ratings. It might have got a 3.5 or 4 or whatever. I'll say, well, this is
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
rating. Other people rate it too, but listening to it, and then they have their comments. People will post their comments, but it's called RYN. You might find other music on there too. Well, I wanted to go into the album itself. Uh, you mentioned the flute. I think that was a brilliant idea to add the flute to the album. I mean, really
well,
brilliant.
he was one of the uh, he was one of the musicians who showed up.
Yeah, yeah.
You
It,
know, I didn't go out and advertise for a flute player.
yeah.
This word of mouth went around the neighborhood, and
It,
hey, you want a flute? Well, let's see
yeah.
what you can do. I said, oh hell yeah, let's do the
Yeah.
flute.
It added a nice texture, a nice feel to the whole album. I gotta say your vocals remind me a little bit of. Do you know who Sixto Rodriguez is?
Who?
Sixto Rodriguez.
No.
Okay, he was a folk singer. He's passed away a few years ago from Detroit. They even made a movie about him, about his life. So
Oh my.
it was a big deal. But anyway, that's just something that I noticed. Uh,
Well,
starts out.
that they made a movie of him. Well, it just so happens that my daughter Jade, who lives on Cape Cod,
Uh-huh.
uh, she has written. She's a writer, and she wrote this play that was just very popular. And they dabble with. She's been in a few of her and her husband have done a few movies. Now, if they can do a movie about Rodriguez, hell,
Mhm.
I'm going to have to talk to my daughter
Right.
about
See,
doing a movie about me.
there you go.
You know, I
That's
might
right.
have to cut my hair, but
That's
oh,
right.
she's a great kid. I mean, she is. She's running. In addition to her creative juices, she runs a Chatham Pottery, and unbelievably, it's all Cape Cod oriented designs and so forth. You know, but she's so talented. And this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. One of her sons, Shaw, uh, had an opportunity and a congressman backing to go to either the Air Force Academy or the Naval Academy. Both. This is how great this kid is. So what he did, he's part of the Air Force now, but he went through this very elite aerospace, whatchamacallit, technology college or university in Arizona, and run by these two scientists that are very picky. And he was the first kid that ever got a full scholarship to attend
Is
this
that right?
discipline. So he's destined to be, who knows? He could be an astronaut or some kind of pilot or something. But he
Yeah.
owes the Air Force 5 years once he finishes. But uh,
But then the
I have to
future.
boast about my grandson,
Oh
man. He
no,
was
that's no. Of course you do. And the future's his after those 5 years, though. I wanted to go over the tracks that I appreciate off of that. It really starts out nicely with Searchin', the opening track, and there's that flute. There's that flute in that one. Really, really nice track. I think that may be my favorite on the whole album, actually. Searchin'. Searchin' is really nice. Um,
Searching?
Searchin', yeah, yeah,
Yeah, wow.
yeah, yeah. And then Plastic World is another nice track. Yeah, that I like as well. And the Trip, that one reminds me a little bit of Santana.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that was, you know, we're talking about songs on an album that, I mean, we went into a studio and laid down the tracks.
yeah,
The amount of hours spent rehearsing and perfecting what we were doing, was astronomical. I mean, we didn't just rehearse for a week. I mean, this was a few months of intense going over these tunes and people making suggestions. And I didn't just say, okay, this is how we're going to do it. I mean, we all worked together as a team. And so that can't be ignored. I mean, the amount of time that went into this. I mean, uh, when I say we went into a studio, I mean we just all got together and sat down, and did our sound checks and all of that, and we laid these tracks down. It wasn't this thing where we put down the bass first, and then the drums, and then the guitar, then the vocals, then the flute.
yeah,
We
yeah,
didn't do it that way.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
all flat out
right.
one
Yeah,
take. Well, I mean, what? No, maybe about one take, but we didn't. There was very few overdubs. I think
very,
the flute had to lay down a couple of extra things, but
yeah,
other than that, it was all done at once.
right, right. I think it's all the better for that too as well. The Old Man, I like that the spoken word with the sung lyrics, and the gentle guitar on that one's really nice.
Well, I wrote that song during my 30-day leave at home at the kitchen table before going to Vietnam. I'll never forget where I wrote that, and and that's what came about. That's what came out. So that just brought me back to when I wrote it.
Yeah, I like that. How you got the spoken word part and then you got the sung lyrics. Uh, I like and then I like the more psyched out Sinful Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You brought it all out on that track. Yeah, and then the last one, the last song. A nice way to end the album too, I think. And it sways almost like a waltz. You go back and listen to the song again. It has kind of a waltzy feel to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well,
yeah,
you see, that's what I mean. I think this album, when it was reviewed, there were just too many different types of songs on it. It wasn't just plain loud rock and roll. It was, as you could, if you listen to it,
yeah.
you could tell there was a different. The songs weren't all the same. You
Right,
know.
right, exactly. And that makes it, I guess that's one of the things throughout history with a record company. It makes it hard if they can't pigeonhole you, right? If they can't
Right, right.
label you as this type of music or that. I guess they can't really feel like they can't get behind and promote. And
Yeah.
there wasn't really any promotion, right, for the album. So
Well, whenever I hear, unfortunately, here it goes back to I wasn't hip to the bone, to the business
this
end
is,
of it.
yeah,
I didn't pay attention to the business side of this whole thing,
yeah,
and I learned to regret it. If I'd have had somebody arranging uh, performances and so forth, but I do regret leaving Australia in the sense that we had a good thing going, me and my guys, and uh, I don't know what
yeah.
we might have accomplished should I have stayed there.
Yeah, now see, that's what I thought when I first, I was putting two and two together. George contacted me about you. I said, "Oh, he's an Australian musician," because the album was recorded in Australia. So
Yeah,
I'm thinking Australia. Then I start thinking, okay, we got to coordinate the time. What we talked about earlier, right? We got to. I
yeah,
already start
yeah,
thinking, I was planning ahead about, okay, when can we talk? And then I was happy to find out that you were back here. You were an American. You just
yeah,
recorded there. Yeah. So I was happy to hear that.
yeah. I've got the passports to prove it.
Right, there you go. Well, did you play live any to promote the album? Did you get to play or
Oh, I played a few gigs, but due to family matters
okay.
and other, I was married and had a child at that point, and well, I don't want to get into it too personally, but it was necessary for me to head back to the States, and I was going to continue, but it didn't work out that way. So I had to find an alternate lifestyle.
Well, how did you get involved in murder mysteries?
Murder mysteries. Well, uh, I don't know what started. I had an idea uh, to write these things, and I wrote and directed these murder mysteries for different restaurants and clubs around the area, and basic and I got this once again. I got this crew together of actors, uh, unpaid. We'd rehearse these things and go over them and over them, and then go and do these live performances, and there would be a prize. And how we'd work the prizes is there would be a drawing, and there'd be a slip of paper handed out, and you had to write down who you think the murderer was. All of those pieces of paper were put in a hat, and the grand prize would be chosen by reaching into that hat and pulling out the winner, who guessed the right murderer. And I'll tell you, there were some nights during rehearsals where I was laughing so hard the tears were just coming down because we were just so enjoying ourselves killing these poor people. And uh, well, there was I did one at a restaurant called Point Breeze in Webster, and it was a spoof on corporations. And when people were coming in, uh, cast members were saying, "Well, we hope you're going to join the Tulip Association or whatever it was." And, 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 and these people went to management and said, "Hey, Liz, we brought a ticket to a murder mystery, not to be pitched to join this club or whatever it is."
Yeah.
And they kept that up until one of the owners volunteered. A friend of mine had made up this knife sticking in your back that was a strap that went around your chest, and you had to cut a hole in a jacket to put the thing on. And so, these complainers were sitting around the bar, kind of miserable that they'd been taken. Then all of a sudden, this poor guy comes out of the kitchen with a knife sticking in his back. And people knew there was a murder mystery going on.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when this poor guy comes out with blood streaming down his back and staggering and dying, people were screaming, "Ah! It's a murder mystery. That's why you're here. Of
That's
course
right.
somebody's going to get killed."
They didn't expect that, did they?
Yeah, oh,
Uh,
it's funny. And
yeah,
one of the greatest places to do this murder mysteries was a place called Lord Thompson Manor in Thompson, Connecticut, and it's a big old mansion that used to be a monastery that these people bought and turned it into well, now they only do weddings, but I did a couple of shows there, and oh, what a perfect setting for killing people. I mean, it was
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
One of the first victims walked in and died, And one of the cast members yell out, "Who is he?" And the line was, "Lucky Williams." I mean, it was silly stuff like that, you know. But
Yeah,
I have this. I love satire,
yeah, I do
and
too.
as you can see, I love joking around. I mean, even in my
Yeah.
old age.
Oh, I want to hear real briefly. I didn't want to go before talking about your career in journalism. And especially, I realize now why you want to talk to me since I'm in Texas, right? You worked in San Antonio,
Yes,
where you won several broadcast journalism awards there.
yes, yeah. I started out in radio, and my dear friend Don Smith, who I knew in Germany in Würzburg, and then in Vietnam, and he was living in Dallas, and Abilene, Texas, actually, and he got me into broadcasting, news broadcasting. Uh, yeah, he moved to San Antonio, and I went with him, and I applied to the KENS TV in San Antonio for a job, and I told the guy I want this job,
Yeah,
and so going back to the murder mysteries being an outlet for my creativity. Well,
yeah,
whenever the story presented itself, I'd throw a silly twist just to have a laugh,
yeah, yeah,
but at the same token, I would do some very serious journalism. To give you an idea of one of them, I did a series on the Guadalupe River. The one that just had
yeah.
that big flood in Kerrville.
Right, right, right.
And I Don Smith is also a pilot, and so we did some aerials covering the Guadalupe River from its source down to the Gulf,
Yeah,
and part of that included the San Antonio River that fed into the Guadalupe River that came out of San Antonio, and it was loaded with sewage.
um,
And we had pictures of the river bubbling with sewage. And I did interviews with farmers that say, "Yeah, it's like this a lot, but my cattle or whatever don't even want to drink the water." And I mean, it was just a mess. Well, that series resulted in San Antonio, the city of San Antonio, being fined over $600,000 and ordered to refurbish their sewage treatment plant.
okay.
So I was not very popular with the city fathers in San Antonio having to come up with that big fine. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was between six and $700,000. And there was a serious side of my reporting, but I also like to have fun when the situation presented itself.
Yeah, well, I think I mean, you got to enjoy what you do too, don't take it all, dead serious all the time,
I really had a great time in San Antonio. I really enjoyed my time there. And I won awards to my surprise. I didn't do I didn't do what I did to win an award. That was not my motivation. My motivation was to get to the point, get to the meat of it, how I saw and interpreted a certain event. And if that turned into awards, I'm happy with that. Why not be? I talked the news director into sending me back to Australia with a photographer, Greg Pastor, who's a teacher now in somewhere in San Antonio. But we went all through South Australia, up to Kubapiti, where they find all the opals, to Kangaroo Island. I mean, we did the whole bit of South Australia because South Australia and San Antonio were celebrating their sesquicentennial at the same time,
At the same time.
and
Wow.
they were switching teachers and businesses and making a big deal out of it. And so we spent over a month there, and I don't think management was too happy when they got the bill.
The bill.
Because I mean, we were flown here and there.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
we were given a car that we destroyed, uh, not purposely, but just to, we got we had this four-wheel drive vehicle, and we were out in the outback. I mean, out in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we got stuck in this sand in this dried up riverbed.
yeah.
And I got a little nervous. How the hell are we going to get out of here? I mean,
Yes.
nobody's going to be coming by anytime soon. And so, by using the winch on the front and a dead tree, I managed to weasel us out of there. But I'll tell you one thing that's amazing, and I kicking myself today that we didn't get the camera out. You got to understand when you're in the outback, it's not
Mhm.
like hanging around America.
Okay.
In the outback at night, there are no lights. I
Yeah,
mean, there is no light at all.
yeah.
And so we're driving down this road, and all of a sudden, we see a light way in the distance. And so we didn't think much about it. Oh, it must be a hotel or some kind of stopping place. So we kept going. And then all of a sudden, we said to each other, that thing's getting awfully close. So we stopped and got out, and this meteorite flew over us.
Wow.
I mean, right over us.
Yeah,
Just and if we'd have had the camera out, I don't know what this could have helped. This the scientists could have done with this thing,
right.
but it. You could see sparks flying off it, and it
Yeah,
didn't make a sound, but it was just going so fast, and it went by us so fast, and it's a vivid memory in my mind to see something like that in the middle of nowhere.
right.
Uh, because unlike the states, and you can't go anywhere in the states and not look around and see a light somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, somewhere,
But in
somewhere.
the outback, you don't see
Yeah,
nothing.
nothing. So you knew it was something. Well, hey, I want to thank you, Roy. It's been extremely enjoyable. Uh, I don't get many like this. That's just, very relaxing. I mean, I try to make it that way. I mean, I don't try.
Well, you remind me of my good friend Don Smith. I mean, he's very calm and laid back, just the
Yeah.
way similar to your style, and it's
Okay.
very refreshing because when you agree to do an interview, you're never quite sure how it's going to go. But
That's
this
right.
was this was fun. This was fun.
That's
Brought
right.
back a
Well,
lot of memories, things I hadn't thought about in years.
hey, that's what it's all about to me, getting in there and sparking some of those recollections and going back. I like to go back in that time machine. That's what I like to call it.
All right.
And yeah, well, again, I will send you a copy of this probably next week sometime. Usually I'll do these one day and then the following week is when I do any editing and things like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. When can anybody that I know wants to watch it? Is there a specific time?
No, no. What I'll do is I'll send you the link for it,
Oh, I
and then
see.
and then you post it wherever you'd like to.
Oh, I
Just,
got you. Okay.
and you can even personally email it to people if you want. Send
Oh,
them
this
an
is
email
terrific.
with the link on it, and then they can watch it whenever they want. All right, I've enjoyed it thoroughly, and you have a good rest of the day and week ahead, and the rest of your life too. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
enjoy
Let's
it.
let's hope it's a few more years anyway.
I
Yeah.
hope so. I hope so. Okay, Roy, it's been very enjoyable, and I will send you a copy of this.
Okay, real good hearing from you.